Welcome to Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF, a show focused on the domestic church, the family, which is the foundation of faith and spirituality. We hope you find our stories about our imperfect marriage, life, and 2 kids and a dog encouraging and helpful as we share our challenges of being married, and family living. So, Linda, here we are, episode 6. And what topic did you pick for this episode again?
Well, traditions. Yeah.
Traditions.
But last month was Love and Grace, so we shared some things on Facebook because we have a Facebook page now.
Yes, I know we do. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So if you look it up, you could just do @the_Grasleys and it'll come up, marriage and family living. But I shared a couple of things about small acts of service because, that's my love language. Just some ideas of things you could share with your spouse that would make them feel loved, as well as for Valentine's Day, sharing the gift of loving words.
Right. I think I shared some things up there about a budget because, it's all about the bottom line for me. And if you haven't done a budget yet this year, it's not too late. Start Monday. Start Monday. Start Monday.
So you put something about every dollar on there, Dave Ramsey's program.
Yes, I did. So that's one of my favorite websites. I always pull that up and look at that. And I think I posted something about the March for Life when I went with Catherine.
Right. That's a nice tradition you and she have created over the last 7 or 8 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, and we tried to pull you and Matthew in, but...
Yeah, Matt went 1 year with you.
Yeah, I think you went that year too, didn't you?
No, I have never been.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe next year you'll have to go with it.
I really enjoy watching it from home by myself in a quiet house.
Watch us go by?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Have my cup of tea and just pray, and then I get to, when the march really starts, get to look for you guys. So, traditions. Yeah, my tradition is to be at home, and you and Kate in D.C.
Me and Catherine get to go out and experience the cold, the rain, the people.
You had good weather this year, right?
This year was phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah.
The group that was playing there was really good. I forget the Sidewalk Prophets, I think it was, which they sounded really good. A lot of young people down there having a good time.
A lot of nice energy.
A lot of good energy down there. Good energy. For sure.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, I picked family traditions. I wasn't thinking about that, but I thought it would be kind of neat. It's what makes our families unique, and it emphasizes who we are, and we try as Christians to show who we are, Christ's children. Yes,
and it really does bring your family together if you have a family tradition, and it's, like you said, it's unique, and it's time spent together most of the time. I guess sometimes, like Catherine and I, that's our tradition. Mm-hmm. But we have a lot of family traditions that we spend together that just bond us together as a family and make us closer. I mean, every time we do a family tradition, I'd like the kids to be enthusiastic and happy about it, but sometimes that just doesn't happen.
They're not, and we'll share some of that with you on this episode. I always think of, I guess now that I'm older, that I love the memories of my family growing up. Maybe as a kid, I felt like our kids do sometimes where it's, oh, brother, we have to do this. But now I'm just so grateful for those memories. And we hope that our kids can take the traditions of our family and blend them with their spouses, whoever they may be in the future. So it's generational.
Right. And from my perspective, both my parents are gone. It's even more of a, oh, I wish I could go back for a day type of thing, It's like we just had some fun. It was just a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. It was a lot of laughs at that.
Right. So, as a married couple, we blend our traditions and we make new traditions, but we may have listeners out there that are single parents or are now in blended families. So whether it's a divorce or a passing of a spouse, they may be working to create new family traditions. So the same thing, you might want to hold on to old traditions, or you just need new ones to help get over some of the pain of things not being the same.
Right. And it's always a single family, a single mom or a single dad. It's very hard to do that. You should get some kid input on that so that you're not trying to spend so much time on a tradition that maybe the kid really doesn't care about.
Right. Or it's not going to be comfortable for them for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And blended families too. I think we really don't have any experience with that, but I guess you have to be sensitive to the siblings or the kids.
Right. Right. Well, Focus on the Family has really great resources that I have friends that I pass things on to them for single or blended families. Take a look at their website. It's called Thriving Family. I think if you go on their website, you'll see they have a magazine that they send for free or a small donation per year, and they'll send it. And they have a lot of really great advice and thoughtful advice for Christian families.
Yeah, and they got they have great resources there. And I personally like the daily podcast. And while I was at the March for Life, I actually got to meet Jim Daly, who's the CEO of Focus on the Family.
Yeah,
that was very exciting.
That was exciting. And you'll hear his voice on the radio. And so Al had texted me while I was sitting on the couch watching.
While she was looking for me.
Well, I was looking for him. Actually, I missed that part, but it was like, who's Jim Daly? And then it occurred to me that he was down there. And
it's kind of funny because nobody knew who he was. Like, he was probably 20, 25 feet away. And I'm like, Jim Daly! And I went running over there.
Like a little kid.
Oh, yeah, like a little kid. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so much more that I wanted to say to him, but I didn't even get a picture.
You were so starstruck.
Well, I wasn't starstruck. I was just excited. I mean, he's kind of our age. And some of the stories he tells about his family, he opens up quite a bit about his family. It's like, I kind of know what you're talking about. And
right.
He's at the same track in life that we are. So that was a thrill for me. I didn't even get a picture of it, though. I couldn't even post it on Facebook
I know.
I only had a picture of it. But what can you do?
You and your Facebook.
Yes, Facebook.
So, well, when we talk about traditions, I think we mostly think about special holiday traditions, and we've shared a bunch of those, so we won't go into that. But we were thinking about our daily traditions that we have. One of them I always shared is before the kids leave for school, I give them a blessing. And I think, have we talked about the morning huddle?
I don't think we've done that. It's worked out starting this year, actually. Monday and Wednesday, the whole family's at home in the morning.
At the same time?
At the same time, yeah. At the same time, I should say. Usually, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm like out of the house before anybody wakes up.
Yeah.
Let me get out of here so I can beat traffic. But Monday and Wednesday, we're all together. That was one of my New Year's resolutions, is like, I'm going to pull the family together and just say a very quick prayer. It is like a huddle. We all circle each other's arms and huddle up like in the NFL. Sometimes the dog even joins us, which I'm not too keen about. But the kids
have to have it.
The kids have to have the dog.
And he's little, so.
Yeah. I'm really not a very good, I don't know. I'm not poetic with my words. I just kind of thank God for the day we have ahead of us, and open our hearts to His will, and let us be receptive to that. And then after that, I think we've talked a little bit about the Jim Harbaughs, how their dad used to say, "Who's got it better than us?"
And we say, "Nobody."
So
that's our little huddle, and it doesn't take long. And I know that it's uncomfortable for you, but you're getting better and better, and it's easier, right?
Yeah, it's easier.
It sounds like it flows so much easier, and the kids have no idea that you're having trouble with it. And I think they appreciate it. At first, we did that. We kind of did that when we went on our long family trips. They would, roll their eyes and all that.
Yes.
But just like everything else.
There's still some days where the mornings are like, "Are you kidding me, Dad? Don't you understand? I got to find my book."
But one or the other of them will say, "Come on, this is what we do." And it's just what we do. This is what we do as Grasleys. So that's our tradition.
Yeah, that's a good tradition.
It's awesome.
And that brings everything in, really. That's the domestic church right there.
That is.
You praying with your kids, and you're showing your kids that, hey,
our faith is important.
Our faith is important. And
so other prayers, of course, are nighttime prayers and grace and tough times. We've talked about doing rosary as a family, which we're sad we are not able to do that much on Tuesdays.
Yeah, just with our schedule. But nighttime prayer, Linda and I were talking about this while we were getting ready for the show, and neither one of us really had a nighttime prayer. Our parents didn't do a nighttime prayer. We both did grace, which I think most people do. It was kind of funny. We friend gave Catherine that book in the baby shower.
Pat Beware.
I can't remember what the name of that book was. But anyway.
Yeah, it was a bedtime story.
It was a bedtime story. So Catherine being our first one, we would read her, I think, 3 books. And that book always seemed to be the last book we read. And then we do the prayer at the end of it. And that's the prayer we continue with both our kids now, which is kind of funny because they're older.
Yeah, and they still love that prayer. They still
love that prayer.
And I remember the first babysitter when we moved down here, Katie's like, "Well, you have to say the prayer." And she's like, said her prayer. And she's like, "No, that's not the right one." And she's like, well, why don't we say it together,
Yeah.
But, still at
That was-
16 and 11 there.
That was kind of funny. And that's where, too, if there's special intentions going on, bring the kids into the prayer, like pray for me because, work is really sucking right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or I got a hard day tomorrow. I'm a little worried about it. Or you could ask them if there's any, hey, are you worried about
Right.
tomorrow? You need us to pray for them. And then I think there was a couple times, too, where some of their friends or their cousins were
Having a hard time.
Yeah, like broken arm or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, let's just keep them in our prayer today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we used to do that Tuesday in the rosary too. We'd say, let's keep these people.
We'd drive on our way
On
over.
our way
We would say
driving,
these people need our prayers, and so we would have special intentions for those people.
Yeah.
But I always ask them before I leave their room, do you have prayers that you'd like me to add to my prayers? Or
Right.
I'll ask, is everything all right with your heart? And
Well, I think they're a little more receptive to you asking that prayer.
one of them's more receptive than the other.
Yes. And then when Catherine is now, well, she's a young adult almost. So she went down to the Basilica. I can't remember how many years ago.
A few years ago.
A few years ago, and she bought a daily devotion book. It's a very small book, and it's like a paragraph every day. It's meant for the morning, but I do it with her at night. And it is amazing how that little book talks to her soul every day. I shouldn't say every day, but when she's having a bad
When it's a tough time, the Holy Spirit is so there. It's and we all look at each other with our mouths hanging open like, oh my gosh, he's saying exactly what you need to hear.
Yeah, exactly. For that day. And it's,
Last night was one of those nights.
Last night was one of those nights. It was kind of nice because Linda and I were in the...
I'm not usually in there, but...
Yeah, usually it's just Catherine and
occasionally I am.
So, but sometimes I try to keep it light and joke around with her a little bit on that. So sometimes there's a little too much seriousness stuff going on. So.
Well, in a teen's life, there's a lot of serious stuff going on.
She picked that out, and I want to replace it because we've been through it so many times. It's amazing. Just every day, it's like, oh my gosh, this is just perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
So, Matthew is another story.
Why?
Well, we really haven't found anything for that kid.
Oh, well, he and I did Jesus Calling, the kids' version, for a couple of years, but now he's kind of done with it. So I'm in search of something a little bit more mature. I mean, he'll be 12 this month.
Yeah.
He's still young, but he needs something a little more mature.
Right.
But he's very open to it as well, and I love that they love that tradition.
Yeah, that's a good tradition, and we just kind of fell into that, really. Like I said, it was that one book.
Yeah, she started it. She started the whole thing.
She started the whole thing, and then that book got passed on to Matthew, and that prayer it was just a nice prayer.
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
You are listening to Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF.
All right, so that's the prayer traditions that we had.
Yeah, we think we have it bad. I mean, people really, they were ready to divorce. Yeah, save their marriages.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. When you see the Holy Spirit working, even if it's from far away, it's like, you can't help but be moved. Like, wow, that's so cool.
The name of the program is Marriage Getaway. That's what it's called, Marriage Getaway. It's a weekend away. And now they have another program called Passport to ID or Identification for kids that are about ready to launch to college, to their first job, to the military, whatever. And it's really to make sure their foundation is solid.
Right. So that, I should say that, what you do is you basically take the kid and you go somewhere. You go somewhere it's a getaway weekend, and you go somewhere that the kid wants to go. It's supposed to be something exciting like rock climbing or whitewater rafting, or you could do something else where you go into a farm and ride horses or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's basically, the dad is supposed to do it with the son. This year I did it with Matthew. That was very exciting. He had a great time. I mean, I don't think he really appreciated what we had to talk about, but where we went, we had a good time. And, after you go through it once, you could just revisit it again a year later. Like, hey, we're going to go up here for the day. And while you're driving, it comes with a whole bunch of CDs and some discs. So really, Dennis Rainey is talking about the uncomfortable subjects. Maybe if you're uncomfortable talking to your kid about, Dennis Rainey's talking about it. You're both listening to it. And then you turn off the CD or the music, and then you and your son or you and your daughter have a conversation about what you just heard. It breaks the ice, I guess. If people are uncomfortable. I mean, nobody's really comfortable talking about that.
Right. But it's important. Yeah.
It's important. It should be coming from you. It should not be coming from somebody else.
So some other traditions you can learn about, biblical traditions, we read in books called Raising a Modern Day Knight, and they have Modern Day Princess, and now they have a new one for Young Princess. And it's really how your kids, we can raise our children to be more godly. They have some ideas of how, you can form traditions.
Yeah, so if you're raising a modern day knight, they'd be doing manly things like, changing the oil or rotating tires or
yeah,
something like that.
You always like that.
Always like that.
Now, when I think it was a wedding gift or a shower gift, my best friend from high school, Maria, had given me a book called Traditions, and it was all about different kinds of traditions people have. And I mean, I didn't love all the traditions in the book, but it was really cool because there was a few that I thought, hey, we could do this to make our own. And you got a book from one of your good friends too.
Oh, yes, The Art of Manliness. Is that the book you're talking about?
Yeah,
yes,
that's it.
How to Be a Man. And it wasn't how to be a man, but it was kind of cool. It talked about a lot about Teddy Roosevelt and how he lived, and how to wear a hat, how to walk with a cane and fight with a cane.
Have a duel.
I mean,
things like tying ties and camping and manly stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Tying ties and how to do some knots. You got to know how to do a knot if you go camping. If you take your son out camping, you got to know how to do some knots.
Which are traditions. You pass on those traditions of being manly.
Yes, but luckily I went to Catholic school, so I knew about the Windsor knot for tying a tie before then. So, but I mean, it's different now. You really don't wear a tie too much. It's kind of funny.
No.
Funerals and weddings, I guess.
Funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's a new version of that traditions book. And when I was researching about traditions, it came up under the Art of Manliness website.
Really?
It's kind of neat that those two things merge together. But so there's a newer version of the book, and it talked about different things that you could do in your family as traditions. So one of them was a secret handshake. I didn't have that growing up, did you?
No secret handshake.
Secret handshake. But we do.
The producer had that as a secret handshake. Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
So I know that one of the guys we listen to, he has a secret handshake with it. What do you do? Don't you do something with the kids?
I do. It's a secret, though. Okay. At church. Don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody.
Our 8 listeners. Please don't tell. There's only 8 of you out there. But so after Our Father at Mass, before we release hands, we kind of tickle the inside of our palms.
Nice.
So, and then we do our group hug.
Yes.
Our huddle, I guess we call it.
Huddle, yeah, that's true. I guess that's kind of like a handshake.
Handshakes have been a tradition of organizations for a long time in history. I like to research the history.
Yeah. Yes, I know you do. So that would be something, if you're looking to start a family tradition, just come up with a handshake. I'm sure your kid would love that, especially if they're like a little younger, like 5 or 6. Look, we got to do a secret handshake.
Yeah.
Make it a secret. Kids always like to keep secrets and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think in the book it talked about squeezing your hand 3 times as a signal to say, I love you. And there was a story about it. On the day a daughter got married, the father squeezed her hand 3 times as they walked down the aisle. And so,
did you cry after you read that?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's good.
So family meals is another big deal.
Family meals is another tradition.
Your family had meals together, right?
We had meals together, yes. Mm-hmm. We kind of had Friday night was kind of pizza night. And we're still, we do that now. We still kind of do that now, not every Friday night, but.
Well, the LeBarons, that's my maiden name. We had dinner at 5:13 every night.
Wow.
Because that's when my dad walked through the door. Did your dad always come home at the same time?
Remember that? I don't think so. I think he did, but.
Yeah.
Then they would sit around and smoke and have a few drinks before.
Oh, yeah. So they probably had a little cocktail hour.
Yes.
Yeah, they did that in Rochester.
That was the good old days.
Right.
Like I said, I missed the secondhand smoke.
Yeah. And your family always said grace because we still say the same grace.
Right. Yeah. That was, my mother loved that prayer. And I think she found that at a Catholic store. She put the little plaque. We still have that plaque. So that's pretty cool.
That's hanging in our home now. So we get to do that each night. Our family, we make sure that we have dinner together. It's very rare that we don't.
Yeah, how did your father get the time down exactly? Because, like today, for instance, I was ready for dinner at about 5:10, 5:15, and what do we eat, like 6 o'clock?
Dad didn't have to make sure dinner was on time. He just had to arrive on time. It was
That's what
Mom
I'm saying. Well,
that
so what do we, let's keep this tradition going. Like 5:15, you should be there.
Some nights, I get to it. Yeah, my mom, let me just say, my mom was a great mom, still is. I walked to school. It was 9/10 of a mile, and I walked home, even if I had track practice after, and I was very tired. And my mom always said she would only take us to school and pick us up if it was thundering and lightning. So when I'd say, Mom, it's thundering, did you hear that? And she said, oh, that's just a big truck.
Oh, I see.
So,
Gotcha.
But anyway, yeah. And she didn't have to drive her kids all over the
better
county.
make sure your mother doesn't hear this episode.
Good thing we only have, a 7-mile radius?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But, so we are still continuing that tradition. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say probably 5 to 6 nights out of the week we have dinner together. Mm-hmm. And when we have dinner together, there's no phones, there's no TV, there's no radio. We just sit around and look at each other and say, well, how was your day? Well, what kind of day was it? Well, what'd you do at work today? Well, how was it? It was terrible. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I used to hate that.
I don't like what I'm eating for dinner. Why'd you make this, Mom?
Yeah, exactly. And I just sit there quietly. My dad always said grace, but we always say grace together, the same prayer. Together.
And, and there are times where I wish they weren't eating with us. Well, let me rephrase that. I wish some people weren't eating with us, and maybe, every now and then it might be me that I'm like, I should go eat somewhere else. So it's not all unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah, some days.
Some days.
So anyway, let's go on to family prayer. Let's move. We, other than Grace, didn't say prayers, not even nighttime prayers. My mom used to say her childhood one once in a while, but it wasn't something we did regularly. So
What else did your family do that you've actually? How about a tradition that you stopped doing?
Well, I continued. I know you don't sing. You don't care for singing. I get that. You love hearing the kids with their instruments.
I do.
But music is a great family tradition. You can pass on values, your heritage, and all of that, right?
Yes.
And
or you could just sit around and watch a YouTube music video and talk to each other about it.
Well, when the kids were little, I used to sing with them all the time. I mean, when it was part of our learning and part of our bedtime, I would sing no less than 3 songs with the kids as they were kind of falling asleep. And each song would get slower and quieter. Yeah. So, and one of those songs anyway, Open My Eyes, Lord. I remember opening it and seeing it. So I'm teaching it to the children's liturgy group.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So it is. It's kind of neat. And we do dance parties, if it was bad weather and we couldn't get out.
I was at work.
Yeah.
I can't dance
and
or sing.
We're at work, yes. But Kay plays clarinet and Matthew trumpet. They don't take formal lessons or they're not in a band or anything anymore, but you love hearing that.
Yes, I love coming home and hearing it. Christmas, they were trying to get a song for your dad, and it was a lot of fun just watching them play. It's just I like hearing the noise in the house when that happens. We
always gathered around the piano during Christmas, and my dad has one of those big old stand-up basses, and my sister has a great voice, and I don't think she plays an instrument anymore. She plays piano a little bit. My brother plays a lot of instruments. So it's fun. It's really fun. And the kids, I think, maybe they don't like practicing the songs Grandpa gives them, but they do enjoy doing that with their parents. When they're all together. So that tradition is going on.
That's a good tradition. All right. So what about family activities that we do as traditions? Do we do anything like that?
Well, yeah. Well, we do hikes. I did hikes as a kid, and Dad still drags us out to the woods sometimes.
Yes,
we cook hot dogs and make pudding over the fire, and
that's exciting.
Hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And
so I don't think I really got into hikes and the outdoors until I met you, because I don't really think
It was kind of our first date, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Remember? Was. Yes.
I built a fire for you.
Yeah. Yes, you did. I brought some paper and the fire went out. It was exciting. It's very exciting.
Created a lot of smoke in the woods, but yeah.
So I was like, fun. This is the outdoors, huh? This ain't too bad.
Yeah. So we do a lot of hiking and camping. That's kind of our tradition when we have that free time. It's like, hey, let's just go in the woods. And we love it.
Yeah, really, the best hike we had was last summer at that picture, Annapolis Rock.
Oh, yeah.
You have that picture on our Facebook page. That
Right.
was just a great day.
Yeah, you have to check it out on our Facebook page.
Yes, just go to the Grassleys.
But Al loves to, he and I always wanted to hike the whole Appalachian Trail. So we didn't do it.
Yeah, we didn't do it.
But,
Now we have no
but
desire
now we're
to do
doing, I do. I still want to, but I don't think my body could handle
it.
it.
Exactly.
So we're doing little segments of it with the kids, and we have a map of it on our wall in the dining room. So we're hoping to inspire the kids to do it so we can,
we could hear about
drop off supplies and maybe hike a little bit with
them. They
them.
can Facebook Live it.
That's right. Yeah. Who knows
like
what it'll
there.
be then?
It'll be like we're there.
When you were a kid, you used to play basketball in the driveway with your siblings, right?
Oh, yes. There was some epic battles in the driveway. Lots of trash talking back then.
Yeah.
Too,
so a couple years ago, we got a net, and we do that, and we play street hockey here and there. So that's kind of a
fun. But the basketball that we play is it's not like the basketball I played with my siblings.
I'm certain it's not.
It's more joking around, mugging people with Matthew.
Yeah, it's just fun. But your family was very competitive with your basketball games. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that. We have a tradition of sometimes in the evening, if it's a nice night, just sitting around on the deck and listening to music and just joking around. Our kids, they're at that age now where, you can have a really great conversation with them, and we just laugh and catch up.
They've been around us long enough that they get our humor,
and we're starting to get there.
Yeah, we're starting to get there. So it's a good spot right now.
Yeah,
that is one of my favorite traditions. I like coming home on a Friday night. It's a beautiful night, and just having a few adult beverages out there, get a candle going, and just listening to music. Sometimes the kids bring their instruments out, the ukulele or the guitar, and just goof around and play some funny stuff.
Definitely. Al's a space guy. Right?
Hey, well, yes.
You're not a rocket scientist.
I'm not a rocket scientist, but some of the stuff
But he knows a lot of stuff that's going on with space programs. So we look for satellites and
rocket launches off of Wallops Island, which is, you can see it from Sykesville.
You can see it. Yeah, if you look in the southeast direction.
Yeah.
We've seen some. We watch it actually launch on our computer, and then we run outside to see it.
It's kind of cool.
Neat. And then we'll, we look, if we know the ISS is at a decent time, we'll go up on the hill and watch for that. And
yeah, that's fun. One of the good traditions that we should talk about is the reconciliation.
Yeah.
Get your kids used to going to reconciliation. Right. So we would try to go a couple times a year, I would say. The tradition was go to reconciliation as a family. All of us go, so everybody's going through it. And then we would go out to either
get pizza
or get McDonald's or maybe get an ice cream if it's during the summer.
Right.
The reconciliation is a very difficult sacrament. Just get them in the habit of saying stuff and going there. Right. It makes it easier for them when they get older. And that's something that you want to teach your kids, your faith again.
Right. It's nice to all go together.
Yeah, you all go through the same thing. The same, like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this. Everybody says, all four of us are like, I don't want to do this, really.
Well, we prep each other, and we're there to support each other. And again, showing that our faith is important. And it's just so peaceful when we walk out. We're all cleansed and can go out and enjoy each other for a nice meal. And we were trying to do that every month, but the kids' schedules have been so complicated. We really prefer to go all together.
Correct. So, well, it's one of those things, too, where everybody goes together. So we are minutes longer than we should be.
Oh.
5 minutes.
Okay. So why don't you wrap it up then?
Well, we have so many more traditions that we'd like to talk about, but
we'd love it if you could share some of your traditions on our Facebook page.
Yes.
We'd love to hear your ideas because it's important to, understand who you are, and it kind of bonds your family even more.
Correct. And next week, what are we going to talk about? Do we have any idea yet? I've heard a rumor that the kids might even get a little shot of the microphone next week.
Yeah, we're talking about fun vacations. And we have had a couple of big vacations we'd love to share with you, and some other smaller ones that are just really meaningful to us. So we could hear from you as well about your vacations that we could share with others.
Thank you so much for listening. Linda and I are very happy to do this show. We hope you enjoyed it. And Married and Family Living with the Grasleys on 92.7 WSJF.
You can send questions and comments to wsjf@stjoseph.cc. Thank you for listening to this original broadcast program on WSJF LP 92.7 FM, Eldersburg.